it's time for the Royal Rumble, and as we know, the Royal Rumble is the best time of the year if you're a wrestling fan because it's just so exciting to the point you want to get on a rocket ship and just fly to the moon. But don't do that because they don't have TV up there and you won't be able to watch. My name is Carmella, you are watching What Culture Wrestling, and because it is just days away, we have to take our brains and trying to figure out what's going to happen at the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, which is what we're going to do right now. Let's go. We shall start with the Women's Rumble because the rumor is that is going to open the show, and it does ask us our first big question for the evening, which is how willing is WWE going to be with surprises? Because it's going to be in the Thunderdome. We're not going to have real fans. Will you really get the desired reaction, given it is just going to be some guy in the back pushing a button to create noise? Now, you could certainly do it too, knowing that even though you're not going to get the desired reaction here, you probably will in WrestleMania, which is going to have real human beings and is only a few weeks away. And if that is the case, you can start saying names like Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey. Now, I personally don't think you're going to see either of these two, but if they did, they could also eliminate each other, and that builds to their rematch at WrestleMania. I only said that in case it does happen, and I will look like a genius. And don't worry, I know I'm not. My mother tells me all the time. Otherwise, this should just be the Bianca Belair show. I think she has proven now that she is ready to be a star, and there is no better way to do that than by winning the Royal Rumble. She's been awesome on SmackDown. I was very sports entertained when she did that obstacle course, and if you're looking to get some sympathy for her, just go and watch her documentary on the WWE Network. Oh my word. She can also toss her nemesis Bayley out there to really light a fire under her ass. And don't give me all that it's too soon, Simon. We gotta wait. What are we waiting for? Christmas? Christmas is ages away. I don't want to give it any more time. I want it to happen now. I mean, if nothing else, let's create a brand new star. It's what wrestling's all about. Or failing that, Charlotte. The only reason I do mention the Queen is that she is pulling double duty at the Royal Rumble, where she is going to team with Asuka to take on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler with the women's tag titles on the line. And this is the issue with mixing all these championships too. Asuka should be defending her Raw Women's title on something like the Royal Rumble, but she's not because it's all just muddled in. And that's the whole reason why I want Baszler and Jax to be victorious. If they had been the champions up to this point, this whole feud with Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose would have made more sense, instead of just going round and round and round and round and round. So he wouldn't have had to start crossing the streams, and who told us not to cross the streams? That's right, it was the Ghostbusters. Also, you can just tell that at WrestleMania, we're probably going to do Charlotte versus Asuka, so let's just start it now. One of these can distract the other, and that means they lose, so they can save face, and then they can argue for a few months, and then they'll have a terrific match in April, and everybody will be happy, apart from that section of the internet that for some reason really doesn't like Charlotte. So it really will help with a lot of aspects, even though actually I'm not that convinced about it. And if you're wondering who will take the pin, well, her name rhymes with Masker. Keeping with the controversy, we're also going to get Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE title. And look, I have made my thoughts on this very clear. As long as Drew runs through Billy Boy and WWE sells it like, oh my gosh, he's just beaten a legend, that is awesome for McIntyre's CV. And right now, anything we do to help Drew, I am in for. Also, so many people tune into this pay-per-view for the Royal Rumble anyway, we may as well have some fun with the world title bout. And yes, I know it's been the weirdest build ever, but these two powerhouses should just kick the absolute shit out of each other, and then, I don't know, hug. But keep it simple too. If you need Drew McIntyre to hit him with 72 claymores, that's fine, but just make sure I see Drew McIntyre pin Goldberg and then go, ha ha ha, I beat you, old man. And of course, if Goldberg does win, it would be ridiculous, but this all seems to be fueled by a rumor that at Mania is going to be Cena versus Goldberg with a championship on the line. If you are going to do Cena versus Bill, you don't need no title, the name value is enough. So Drew wins. Literally, Claymore kicks Goldberg's head off. I mean, if he doesn't, and it goes the other way, the internet is gonna melt down, and as I've already insinuated, I do just get a little bit of fun out of that, because ultimately it don't matter. But I'm saying that because I'm confident McIntyre is gonna win. Please don't be wrong. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens is far easier. They, of course, are going to have a last man standing match for the Universal Championship, and it's going to be so good. Roman Reigns is so good. Kevin Owens is so good. They're never going to hold back. They're probably going to try and kill each other. But very sadly, kind of from a story perspective, even though I love KO, the Tribal Chief is going to win. And while I wouldn't mind if that did happen and I'd celebrate it like it was my birthday, it just feels too soon. Roman Reigns has transformed himself into the end-of-level boss, and you've just got to keep building and building and building that, probably until like the end of this year at the earliest, and then have someone beat him, because you'll be like, flub my life, how did that happen? Because right now, the main thing you want to do is keep transforming him into an absolute loon. When I say loon, I mean tribal chief. I mean, oh, Roman Reigns, you are my king. I haven't got a chair. Somebody find a chair. I think I would prefer it if Jey Uso stayed out of this one, just because we have seen it so much. But it does make sense. But do not forget, Kevin Owens has a friend now called Adam Pearce. Why can't he walk out and chase Jey Uso away? I mean, it would be a great misuse of power, but he's been great the last few weeks and he deserves a little portion of revenge. This is going to be great though. I can just feel it right down in my bones. And look, if you want to put Kevin Owens in the Royal Rumble afterwards and have him win, you are not going to hear me complaining. As I'm recording this too, we barely have a Rumble card, even though I'm fine with it because both Rumbles are going to be an hour. You don't need that many matches, but it is WWE. You know what happens? You just wake up one day and they've announced another 67 matches, so I'm going to guess and hope I get some right. Randy Orton versus The Fiend was absolutely planned for the Royal Rumble at one stage, but now they're saying it's being held off for the Elimination Chamber, but in case it does come back, surely The Fiend has to win. I mean, he was set on fire and sent to hell. Probably needs to get a victory. Sasha Banks versus Carmella could also happen, and do not give Carmella the title. It's too early. Sasha Banks right now is on top of the world. Make sure you keep her there. Riddle versus Bobby Lashley for the US Championship is also going to happen at some point. And no way is Riddle that. Bobby is probably going to hold that title until the day he dies or until Vince McMahon says, I don't think we should do WWE anymore, pal. He's the strongest man ever. And I suppose you may get the Street Profits versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. If that does happen, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler should hold on to the belts, kind of for everything I just said, too soon. Which brings us to the Men's Royal Rumble, which actually is one of the most fascinating in years. I think the front runner has got to be Daniel Bryan, and if I had it my way, he would come at number one and run the entire gauntlet and win. But you could also go in many other directions. And that's what's so cool about it, because you do have multiple options, because you could go with Big E, although I'd actually err against that, because I don't think he's going to win at WrestleMania. And when he does go after one of the world titles, he should be victorious. But if you want to put Edge in there and have him win it, I'm not going to mind that. Who doesn't like Edge? On a completely outside bet too, if WWE wants to pull a fast one and have Mustafa Ali win it, I will lose my mind. I mean, the story he has been telling, how Kofi Kingston screwed him a couple of years ago, I think it is wonderful, and I've waited all these years for a story to kind of be born in the middle of the Royal Rumble and create a star out the other side. You could easily do that with Mustafa Ali. There are some extra outside factors too, such as Brock Lesnar. And that's going to make a lot of people go, oh no, I can't believe it. But I told you earlier, if Lesnar wins and then challenges Drew McIntyre to a rematch at WrestleMania, and then McIntyre beats him again, what does it do? It improves Drew's resume. I'm not going to go over it again. You also have the one and only Seth Rollins. I mean, the internet was all like, oh, he's coming back to SmackDown at one point, and then he didn't, and maybe it's because WWE officials went, wait, we can do it at the Rumble. And I'm good with him winning it too. If he did return as a good guy, and I get that would take some explaining, and then challenges Roman Reigns, what a switcheroo that would have been. The tribal chief against the man that likes to set things on fire, whatever the hell he does, but now he's the good guy, and Roman's the bad guy, and you have all the Shield stuff? Oh, plug me in. Even with all that though, I am going to go back to Daniel Bryan, because there have been so many teases and so many near misses. If he is about to wrap his career up, or at least, at the top of the card like he's been saying, let him win the flipping Royal Rumble. Just give me what I want, like Dave Bautista once said. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below, and you've got to do it now. You've got to let me know your predictions. I'm massively intrigued, mainly who's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble and who is going to win the Men's. If you get it right, you don't get a prize, but you get my eternal gratitude. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com, where you can stay up to date with the Royal Rumble. You can also do that on social media. Search for What Culture, and you can watch more videos about the Royal Rumble here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. I did try and enter the Royal Rumble this year, but Adam Pearce actually told me real time this happened on Twitter that I wasn't allowed. So next year, I'll just have to be AJ Styles, and then I'll be in.